Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name is Tanya, and I'm going to share with you a secret that I just stumbled up on the other day. I needed to go somewhere right in the middle of making bread, so for the first rise of my bread, I just stuck it in an oiled bag, an oiled plastic bag, put it in the refrigerator, and then wound up not even baking it off or letting it rise a second time until the next day. Well, I'm telling you, this was the softest bread I've ever made. You could knead this stuff for hours and never get the softness that I acquired in this. So I thought, next time I made bread, I made some buns, and I thought, I'll try it again just to see if that was a fluke. But it wasn't a fluke. I'm telling you, there's something about letting that bread rise, its first rising in the refrigerator, that just does magic to this. So go with us as I make some rolls, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I do. There's a shortcut to the kneading. There is a shortcut to the time process. It's kind of one of those things. It's like, why didn't I ever read about this before? Does nobody else know this? Am I that smart? And I think the answer is no, but I have stumbled up on the way to make some really soft bread. So just trust me when I say you're going to enjoy this, because all your work is cut in half, at least in half. This is crazy good. So go with us as we go in the kitchen and make some rolls. We're going to let them rest overnight or 2 nights and see how they turn out. Okay, so in here we have a cup of warm water. It's about 105 degrees. And then I added that to about 2 tablespoons of honey, maybe a tablespoon and a half, 2 tablespoons of honey. That's just to feed the yeast. And then we sprinkled the yeast on top of that, so 2 teaspoons of yeast on top of that. Now to this mixture, I'm going to now put in my butter. This is a little bit softened. I've had it sitting out a while. And I'm going to put a little bit of powdered milk in here, because you can use milk for this if you want it to be really rich. I just used water, but I'm going to add just about 2 teaspoons of dry powdered milk. It just gives it a little bit richer flavor, I think, but this is what I'm using. That comes in handy. All right, to this I'm going to add 3 cups of just plain organic flour. And then the last ingredient is our salt. And it's just a teaspoon of salt. And that's pink Himalayan salt. Take our dough hook, put it on our mixer. Now keep in mind, generally when I make rolls or bread of any kind, I'll mix it for 5 minutes, let it rest for 5 minutes, turn it back on for 40 minutes to knead. But at this point, we're going to mix this for about 5 minutes. I'm just going to scrape this down and make sure everything's down in the bowl. I saw a blob of butter on the side, so I know it's getting mixed in. Pretty much when the sides of your bowl are cleaned off by the dough that's moving around, that's when you're done. We're not trying to build up gluten at this point, even though ideally bread has a high amount of gluten in it, but for some reason this works. Don't ask me why. It's science and it's beyond what I understand, but I do know soft bread. Okay, honestly, I don't even think that was 5 minutes. I wasn't looking at the time, but I would guess more like 3 or 4 minutes. All right, I've unplugged my mixer, obviously. I'm taking this dough off the dough hook, and you can see it comes off really easily. It's not very sticky at all. Okay, I still say your bread dough should feel like soft baby skin. I've got it all out of the bowl. It does not stick to my hands. Now this is the bag that I'm going to put it in. This just has olive oil in it. Put a little bit of olive oil in there, maybe a teaspoon if it's your first time. And it just coats the bag so it doesn't stick to it. I'm going to take this blob of dough, put it in here. Don't wrap it super tight. Twist it off. We're going to put it in the refrigerator just like this, and this is going to stay in there for at least a day. In my case, I may leave it in there for 2 days. It just depends on when I get around to making the rolls, so we'll video the rest of it. But for right now, this is all you're going to mix this dough, and it's going to turn out to be the softest rolls you've ever had. So stay tuned. Good morning, friends. It is 2 days after I made the dough for our rolls, so we're going to get that out of the refrigerator. Okay, here's the roll dough right here. This is dough that I made yesterday. This is for raisin cinnamon bread, and this is what I always make when we travel anywhere. I know I'm that person that shows up with loaves of bread on the airplane, but they all become my friends real quickly. So I'm going to make both of these today. This one I made yesterday. This one I made 2 days ago. So let's get these going, and we're going to see how soft these turn out. I'm telling you, it can't just be my imagination. This is so much softer than if you just process it within 3 or 4 hours, which normally a good batch of rolls usually take me about 3.5 hours to finish. Start to finish, 3.5, 4 hours. Sometimes you have to let them cool off before people take them somewhere, but really and truly, not that much time. This has taken 2 days now, so let's get these going. Okay, this is what our rolls look like. One, it was a little bit smaller than the rest of them, so I just put it in the center. The ones on the outside edge tend to cook a little faster, so I always put the small ones in the center. So this is what our rolls look like. I'm going to put this in the lower oven. If you don't have a lower oven, if you don't have a place that's out of a draft or anything, just cover it with a towel. We're going to let this rise for about an hour. This is called our second rising. So we'll put these in the oven. I'll turn the light on down there for some warmth, and then I'm going to roll out my raisin cinnamon bread, but this video is not necessarily about that, but I will show you that final product in the end too. So let's wait for the second rising, and then we'll bake them off. We're going to get our bread out of the oven, or not out of the oven, out of the lower oven where it's been rising for an hour. This is what the rolls look like now. Quite a difference from when we put them in there. And then I'll show you what the raisin cinnamon bread looks like as well. A video on the raisin cinnamon bread can be found on our channel too. We'll link that in the description if you're interested in that. And this is the size loaves I pack in my carry-on on the plane. So these have risen, the rolls have risen, and we're going to put them in the oven. I have the oven preheated to 350 degrees, and these will bake in about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to set it for 20 and check them at that point. Now, if you wanted to take an egg wash, just egg white and a little bit of water, or not, brush over the top of the rolls. That'll give them a real shiny top, but if not, just leave them as they are, and I've left mine as they are because I'm going to be eating these with sausage or bacon in between them, probably before I ever get to my destination in a few days. So we'll be right back when these get done. I'll show you what they look like. I added about 5 minutes to the time, so we're looking at about 25 minutes for these rolls to get done. They look done now, so we're going to take those out. Okay, here's what our finished product looks like. Let me turn this sideways here. And instead of coming back and making more pieces of a video, which is just more for my husband to edit, and we're trying to get things done so we can get ready to go on an extended trip, I will leave comments. I will leave my opinion in the comments about how these turn out, because they're too hot right now for me to tear them open. It would burn my fingers off. So anyway, these are going to be to, again, put either bacon or sausage in. I'll wrap them individually. I'll put them in my carry-on, and this is my go-to snack if there's something on the flight that I just don't want, a breakfast loaded with sugar or something like that. I'll turn to these every time. So anyway, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to sharing something again with you next time. What I did want to tell you was you have to burp this bag. And what I mean by that is when you put it in the refrigerator for the first rise, where you're going to leave it in from 24 hours to 2 or 3 days, which is why we had it resting in the refrigerator, it's going to continue to off-gas, and so you want to be sure if you have it in a plastic bag to go in and let that air out periodically. I think I only had to do it once with this and once with the raisin bread. So again, that yeast eating is going to produce a gas, and you need to let that out or your bag is going to explode. Now, if you have it in a bowl with just a shower cap or a towel or some kind of covering over it, not to worry, it's going to escape on its own. But if you do have it in that sealed bag, you're going to need to let that air out. So anyway, all that being said, I hope you give this a try. These are the most soft rolls I've ever had. So I just know it's going to turn out that way because I've done it twice now. And it's amazing what a little rest will do to even bread. I know it happens to me. So thanks for joining us, guys.